So, yes, please.
Yeah, hi, I'm Bill Bennett. I'm from the New Zealand Herald. You were asking that question up on the board, which is, I was actually thinking about this when I was downstairs, and it says, are you ready for HP, AI, PC? Is the market ready for this? Is this the product the market is telling you they want? And I guess the second part of that is this going to be the thing that brings the PC market back to life after pretty much 10 years of disappointing sales?
So I'll start and then anyone else can jump in. So from is this what the market wants? From an HP perspective, we've designed this portfolio driven by customer needs and wants. So we don't start with the technologies, we start with the customer and work back from that. And the reason I say that is because I mentioned on stage, we've used AI in our products for some time now. When you think of noise cancelling technology, when you think of our cameras, when you think of battery life, these are all things that matter to customers. So we're just building out on what we know our customers expect of HP, and we just continue to refine that as we continue to get that feedback around what our customers want. And I think Mark did a really great job of just touching on some of those subtleties that are meaningful features that make a difference in the experience. And I don't know, Mark, if you wanted to just tease out on a few of those.
I think it's one of those things where we're at the dawn of the internet again, where the internet, everyone went out and bought the network to build it. Now we're at the point where everyone's going out to buy GPUs, the Intel processors, the accelerators to create the idea of what's next. And these devices are your next step because, as I mentioned, and I actually got this from the Adobe guys, we've gone from everything's on the PC to everything's in the cloud. Now the cloud's getting pretty expensive, hard to get to, and a lot of other things around that. We're coming back to the PC because we need to have that compute, we need that drive on the device.
Sorry, I just wanted to pick up on that because you said that earlier, but what evidence have you got that swing has gone one way and it's come back again?
That was Adobe that spoke to me about it because they are using full-on GPU. You saw Chuck today, he wasn't just using a big GPU graphics card, he was using the whole device. He couldn't have done that in the cloud.
Yeah.
You couldn't do any of this stuff that Adobe to a point, they're going back and forth, but when you start getting into some of their bigger products, even just in the Premiere, you can't do that in the cloud. It's the network's just not there yet, but you need that compute power on the edge or at the end user PC, and you'll see more and more of it come when AI starts to ramping into more of the nitty-gritty of what we can get our hands on actually later. We've only just started to touch the forefront. You kind of see things like Windows Studio Effects, and you see that Windows Studio Effects goes from being those tools we've had before that used to drain our battery life, that used to give us a bad experience. You'd have to replace our computers every once in a while because it just got a terrible experience. We're now at a point where we're using low power, NPU, driven in the CPU, and it's given us a far better user experience. Like the gen-on-gen differences, you're getting like 38% battery life back on using Teams and Zoom type of thing. They're the things we spend all day in most of the commercial world. So absolutely, it is at the precipice of that next drive into it needs to be on the PC.
And that's the second part of my question is that going to revive sales in the PC market? Is this the thing we've been waiting for the market to come back?
I'll start with my thoughts. So we're in the perfect storm, you could say, right now. We've got the Windows 11 migration that's happening. We've got this next-gen AI PC activity. This is probably the best time for consumers to look at refreshing their devices because there's a real story there. There's a meaningful difference in what their experience is going to be and how it supports things like their work style, whether it be in the office or out and about or at home. I think we went through a couple of years where we all got pretty frustrated with people getting on Zoom with the worst cameras of all time, the worst sound. These are things that only through lockdown did we realise actually matter. They put a barrier between us being able to connect with our peers at work or our family and not. So I think, all of these kind of combination of things that we've been talking about today signal that now is the time that we can expect in the industry to see a big pickup, an uptick of devices from a shipment perspective.
I'll just add from Intel's perspective too, right? We've been working a lot with the software providers, right, and people developing the apps to port their apps to the CPU. So what you've got, and when you're saying is the market ready today, you've got your tool device for your future of AI, if you like. Yeah, there's a lot of applications available today, but there's a huge amount. We're working with over 100 different software vendors to make sure that their applications are going to take advantage of the power we're putting into the AI-based CPUs, right? So I think that's also going to stimulate people to buy, because you've got the option of buying an AI PC today or not. If you buy one today, you're also going to get all the goodness of AI moving forward. And I think that's pretty important.
I don't want to monopolise things, but I'm sure there's quite far onto that, and that is, if you buy a computer today, or from today onwards, is it possible to buy an HP computer that's not an AI computer?
Yes, it is. I mean, there's a lot of computers on the shelf, right? So, and old stock and new stock coming in. So yes, it is. You have a choice as a consumer. I was actually in JB Hi-Fi last week, and I walked in with my HP Intel jacket on, and I spoke to a real consumer buying a computer, and I actually had the conversation with him, do you need AI, right? And he was a builder, his PC had broken. I asked him the question, we've got these ones over here, they've got built-in AI capability, and we've got these ones here that don't. And he said, I just use them for emails and internet. And I said, well, today, sir, you don't need AI, right? So, but tomorrow, as the market develops, there may be a tool there for his company in particular to take advantage of the power of having AI on the client, right? So, I didn't see what he walked out buying, but I know it was a HP system. So.
Nick Ross, High Performance Laptops. Is there going to be improved availability in Australia for these latest wave of HP devices? Because kind of in past years, and yes, there was some COVID-related supply chain issues. There was old stock in the shops that were years old and very hard to find any of the latest stuff at all. Is that going to improve now?
So from an HP perspective, we're back to normal. So there is no issue in regards to supply. I know we went through that rocky period as an industry in regards to supply constraints. It wasn't something unique to HP. So all of that supply chain situation of the past has stabilised.
But I mean, we still kind of got stuff later than the rest of the world did, before and after that's cleared up. Is we're going to be on par with the rest of the world now?
Yeah, should be. Yeah, you can go and buy one today from JB Hi-Fi.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do the cash rate. Just look for Intel Core Ultra. There's a missing shot for you straight away, mate. It's available now. We've got our commercial range, the 800 series. It's available now. We'll have the rest of our commercial range coming out May 1st. Receiving stock middle of May, but that is just because it's the new refresh of all the chassis. 800 series, we have the same chassis, so it's going out. But yeah, that Omen machine down there that we've demonstrated, you can go down and buy that now. I'm tempted, because against sort of HP policy, I was tempted to use as my work device. It's a gaming device. It's an Intel Core Ultra 9. It's got a huge graphics card for gaming. It will do absolutely everything I want to do. I travel a lot, I game away, I work away. It's right there available.
So how is that not a work device?
No,
it's just
because it's got
HP policy to put it on there. But it's that's a completely different conversation. But this is where the blend between what is a work device and what is a personal device is now starting to merge. And the fact that we are living in a hybrid place where you work 0 days in the office or 5 days in the office, you have to have that blend of what is required. Now, he's a builder, he doesn't need AI. You bought a device, thankfully HP, of the right budget for him. There's a lot of different options out there, and that's why we're here today to try and educate our partners, our retailers, to get them in the right direction about is AI PC right for them? Is it right for whatever else? Is it right for
So I was just curious. So rated battery life. I read some of these new devices have a battery life of like 21 plus hours.
Yep.
So for long term
Depending on what you're doing with all this sort of stuff, but my Intel Core Ultra 9 is an Evo device, which means it's got more than 9.5 hours of battery life.
And Wi-Fi 7.
Usable battery life.
Is Wi-Fi 7 going to be a common spec across the range, or
Some of our premium range, yes. Wi-Fi 7 is still fairly expensive for what it is.
6E?
Sorry, 6E, yep. And that's the thing, you're now starting to see some of that higher technology come down into the more affordable devices like our ProBooks, our Spectres and Elite and Envies down into those products there. Wi-Fi 7 will come and it's going to be fantastic, but it's just not at a price point that is quite reachable. It's still very new. It's only been certified this year, so it's still very new. It's still cutting edge.
The routers are, I think, few and far between as well right now, right? So I don't know too much about the router game, but I've heard they're expensive and they're very large at the moment. But the technology's amazing. It's a huge leap forward in Wi-Fi.
So I'm from New Zealand. I have 10 gigabits in my house.
Yeah.
Unlimited data, 10 gigabits.
So you can take
Wi-Fi is my pain point. I mean, everything my network goes at multi-gigabit speed until I hit Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi 7 is absolutely for you, but you'll even get to a point where the ideal condition of Wi-Fi 7, you'll have more bandwidth at home than what your broadband supply.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I've got three questions. One, Rachel, you mentioned that in a couple of months we can run LLMs on our machines. Now, is that going to be through the NPU and the Intel Core Ultra chips, or is that in conjunction with the NVIDIA graphics card? Or is it something else? Are you hinting towards Windows 12 coming with an AI generated inside? Because we've been hearing about the Apple devices that are going to be running LLMs locally, according to the rumours from Mark Gurman. But the second question is, how are you going to be promoting all these new capabilities? Are you going to run ads on TV or educate the JB Hi-Fi guys? And thirdly, AMD's been running a developer competition to get developers really working on AI. Are you going to run some sort of a competition, not just for developers, but for consumers, to show everybody else how they can take advantage of the new AI PC functions? Because it's ultimately, as we've seen today, a lot more than just Windows Studio effects. There's so many things, but I guess most people still don't really know. And a lot of them would say, why don't I just use ChatGPT? I'll wait for the second generation of your processors next year, because inevitably the Osborne effect, it's going to be better. So there's three questions. I don't know which one you're going to want to go with first.
Let me start with the first one. So today we're here to talk about our current lineup, which is on Core Ultra. And I think with Mark's presentation, he actually showed all the amazing high compute things that you can do locally as it stands. And though I can't talk a lot about what's coming down the pipeline, it's only going to get better. But what we're currently talking about in our lineup is amazing and exciting right now. What was the second question?
Well, I mean,
let me just add to that one as well. So we can run LLMs on our devices already. You will start to see more personal assistants start to be on the device rather than going to the cloud. To give you that online and offline personal assistant. You'll have the new product used to be called Rewind, it's now Superpower. That is your own personal assistant on your device, using an NPU, GPU, and CPU in combination, and using an LLM that sits on it. You download it when you install something.
And is that an HP program? Because that's one of the features of supposedly the next version of Windows 11, to have this Rewind facility.
Well, that's sort of the place it is, but it's a third party. It's a partner with Intel. It's part of the Intel partner program, so this is touching on your second point. So at the moment I think Intel started with 100 different partners, but now it's up to 157, 200 odd user partners.
Yeah, 200 odd applications are being worked on to be optimised. So we don't need to run a competition for that to happen because we're already engaged. And we have been for some time on Meteor Lake. And obviously when Lunar Lake comes, we'll make that even bigger and greater because there are many, many more ISVs out there developing their product, right? So we've got engagement with the whole ecosystem. And that's something where, with Intel's position, people are wanting to work with us. Plus we've got the best software tools and solutions for them to be able to easily do that. So a good example of our software engineering team is that I was working on the demo with Chuck last week, and we had a 2-hour session on the phone with one of our software engineers in India to try and get his frame rates up from 7 to 10, and we did it. And he did that by optimizing the software and working it more down toward the Intel ARC processor to offload some of the pressure on the NVIDIA GPU. So it's those types of things that the ISVs can engage in, and we've got a full program that's running that, and they could be sitting anywhere in the world and have an open line to Intel to go off and optimize their code for our silicon.
So the third question was how you're going to market this to consumers and businesses.
So we partner with the likes of Intel and many of our other alliance partners in regards to product launches. Like the perfect example is here today. Firstly, starting with our partners, our customers, our retailers around what does this space look like, what are customers talking about, what is sitting within the HP portfolio, and I think if many of you flew in today, you would have seen at the airport a lot of advertising already taking place. So we'll continue to work with our marketing team around what our go-to-market strategy is as our story continues to build. Let's remember, this is chapter 1. We've got a long way to go and a lot of plans in place around how we expect to go to market and make sure that we maintain that leadership position in the AI space.
Yeah, I think it changes by the day. It's moving so rapidly as well. So we've just got to keep up with the current content, the current trends. We've got the keys to the AI castle here with these great devices, right? So I think it's a matter of, as the ecosystem evolves, letting customers know just what they can do with it. And as we go through the back half of the year, we'll work with HP to make sure we're getting that out to customers.
And we're kind of learning, like you saw Chuck on stage, we're learning that it's more powerful not to have suits on stage talking about the tech. It's better to actually have it in the hands of the people who are using it and hear the magic that happens with those stories. And we're also collaborating with various talents on TikTok, young kids who can really transform the way what this means to them, and we just leave it in their hands. It's better there than with us, quite frankly.
I think some of the battles also that some education facilities see this as being like the calculator, it's cheating. Like putting a chatbot into the hands of a student, or AI generative pictures and things like that, they're kind of cheating against the system. But this is the way they're going to be working, the way they are going to be creating in the future. You need to develop an ecosystem that we are enabling students and the people of tomorrow to go in and start taking full advantage of this, because they're ramping up so quickly that they need to be at the forefront of it, because they'll be using it very, very soon. We've already seen the creation of an AI prompter as a brand new role that didn't exist 2 years ago, 3 years ago, if that. This is the way that we're changing the way. We've got to go back and learn English so we know how to speak to an AI agent. That's the changing model of how quickly AI is moving and how fast this is all changing.
I think hence that's why we've got an AI role within HP, because it is changing so rapidly. We need to keep up with the trends to be able to market it to the customers, right? So there'll be plenty coming.
I think one of the cool ones was there's a great Adobe video who unfortunately had to drop it at the last minute, but it's a lifestyle person having a photo of their room going, I want a floating bookshelf, I want a red couch, I want this. And their imagination was their only limitation of what they could change in this room. Now you put that into a lifestyle professional, a student, and the imagination's crazy. Like the creativity that is expanding because of AI and what the people like Adobe, like Chuck are doing, it's just mind-blowing. And my presentations that I present to are changing on a weekly basis, nearly daily some days, because of the new information that's coming out. You're seeing things like Sora, text to AI video. Like, this is just happening so crazy and fast that we have to be on the forefront of it now. You need that. Not everyone needs an AI PC, but a lot of people will start to need a requirement.
And look, it wasn't too long ago where, well, it is fairly long ago now, but when HP launched our first programmable calculator. We saw teachers out protesting that, they were going to lose their jobs. But did they lose their jobs? No, the calculator just formed part of that teaching landscape. I think what excites me is, what are educators going to do with this technology? How is it going to transform the classroom? Is it going to be the great equaliser in the classroom? You heard Jason talk about, his own personal journey where, having learning difficulties, he felt like he didn't have an equal voice in the classroom. AI is going to offer up some powerful solutions in the classroom, let alone other user cases. And I think, given the fact that we only know what we know now, the exciting thing is we've got a lot more to learn, and it's going to be putting this technology in the hands of the people that know best about their area of business, that this thing is really going to be brought to life.
You're never going to carry around a calculator in your pocket. You're going to have an AI bot hanging off your shirt. This is a changing way of how we're looking at it, and this is where AI is now becoming a useful, constructive part of your everyday computer.
Tell you what, it makes a difference with pub arguments.
Yeah.
There's Metallica to be spent. Hang on a second.
We've probably got time for one last question. I know you've been patient.
I'm Fergus from reviews.org. I think we've all seen AI explode in interest over the last 2 years, but I really liked your slide where it went through the bigger history and all the various waves from basic AI to deep learning to machine learning. But the thing the slide kind of leaves out there is the AI winters that occur between each of those waves. What evidence are you seeing that that's not going to happen again?
Because generative AI is in the hands of everyone. I can go onto a website, I can go into a chatbot, I can start to create whatever my pretty little head will actually want to do. I have a slide where I go, create a picture of dogs playing cats in a game of basketball. Anyone else done that? No, just me? Okay. But this is where that's in the hands of everyone. The previous levels of deep learning, artificial intelligence, like you can go back, and I watched Mission Impossible 1 the other day, and they spoke about that in one of the computer chips. It was at the very few, it was very high level tech. And even to the point at the moment, AI is kind of in the hands of the big players that are up there, but everyone's now learning to code. Students are learning to code. Everyone's starting to become computer literate in AI. That's a big difference. You're giving the power to the masses. It's not just being kept for the few at the moment. It's going out everywhere. I can log into any cloud compute system at the moment and spin up an AI compute engine. It's that capable now that if you've got the knowledge, you've got the speed. You saw Chuck do some amazing things with it. He's had that device 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
2 weeks, I think it was. And one of those weeks he was traveling with us to go and do this for an internal roadshow. That's what he's done. He's gone from 7 frames per second to 10 frames per second. His mind is just moving. He's got his own. He has to be very selective on the LLM that he has, because some of the other ones are very have a lot of different risque, sort of not for suitable for work material. So we have to be very careful about where we pull our data from. But he's creating. He's going crazy with it. Like it's really coming down to your own limit in your imagination to have access to that generative AI, and that's just going to grow bigger and bigger. And that's why you're seeing that increase in spend, 45% in artificial intelligence. You're going to see 25% in end-use compute because of that. And that's where you're really getting into the hands of the masses.
All right, if anyone has any other questions, find me and we'll find some time to get some answers for you. But thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate it. And I know a few of you are having dinner and a few of you are leaving on planes, so yell out if you need anything.
Thanks for coming, guys. I hope you got something out of it.
Thank you.
And ladies.